For many years now, local and international attention has shifted to the northeast, of course, because of the many crises characterized by the Boko Haram attack. How much has the media, local and international, helped tell the story, especially the local media? I have with me a guest, someone who has covered stories in the northeast, the crisis, for a very long time. I have a special documentary. What's the title of the documentary again?
Actually, I've had two documentaries. The first one was After the Siege, and the second one is Not Another Nigerian. That's the one currently going on now. All right, his name is Emmanuel Ohiomokhare. He once worked with the AIT, and now he's an independent producer running your own thing. All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel, for taking time to talk to us. Good documentaries, I must say. I watched them, and we'll talk about it as we continue. But first, how much attention do you think the media is giving to the Northeast crisis? And of course, we hear there is hope, there is some bright light coming at the end of the tunnel, people are returning, life is gradually returning to normal. How much involved has the media been in this? The truth about it is that the media gave so much attention to the Northeast. They gave so much attention to the killings, the bombings, and all that. And that was the negatives in the peak of the whole crisis. And now that things are beginning to take shape and beginning to come out, people are beginning to return to their bases, people are trying to return to their bases, people are rebuilding their lives. I must say that the media hasn't been doing as well as it did when it was covering the negatives.
Maybe because bad news sells.
Well, maybe because bad news sells. But you see, when you need to change the narrative of the Northeast for us to be able to change our perception towards that place, because, for instance, I've gone to Borno State, I've gone to about 5 to 6 local government areas under siege, that were under siege in Borno State. I've gone to Adamawa State to go and see the local government areas. When you go to those places, you find that the media is not doing enough. And I'll tell you why. The Boko Haram insurgency is not as strong as it used to be. A lot of it has been decimated. Most of it right now are soft attacks, bomb attacks, using soft targets and all that. So now there is no serious attack because they do not have probably the might to attack. So what should you do, especially knowing that the last time you reported that so well was when there was so much attack, the climax of it. I mean, so what should you do now that things are beginning to return to normal is to go to those places and begin to tell the stories. And that is what is missing in our media. A lot of them are not telling the stories, the true stories. They rather want to talk about the soft attacks. They don't want to talk about peace building. They don't want to talk about trauma management. They don't want to talk about the relocation. They don't want to talk about people who need money.
Why?
That's a very good question. Why? Is it that they are not empowered by their proprietors, or if it is government media, the government is not supplying them enough funds to go tell the story? Or they are more focused on politics, which brings in the money? Because what I'm talking about is for the media to do human stories, human angle stories that will tell the story and that will change the narrative of an area. And it is necessary because, like someone or some people say, many people, I beg to also add that even members of the media believe that this issue is a northern problem. It's not a Nigerian problem. Let them deal with themselves. They have been bombing, they've been bombing themselves, so let them deal with themselves. But that is a very, very weak and very, very unethical way to look at such issues.
Yeah, and also doesn't it go to help telling our story? We complain that the foreign media tells our story from the negatives. Of course, we see a lot of, when you travel, people think the whole of Nigeria is under attack, the bombs are everywhere. Of course, because of our media. Don't you think this is giving bad impression?
That is why the media needs to rise up. That is why the media needs to go to some places. I've been to many places in the Northeast, and let me tell you some of the stories that should be told. Let me tell you how the issue of de-radicalization, it hasn't been very well emphasized on the media. how some people, Boko Haram members, they have given, I mean, they've, in quote, given their life to the government and said, no, they don't want to be Boko Haram again. They want to.
You've met some of them.
I met some of them, not on camera. They don't want to speak on camera. But now, guess what? These people have been de-radicalized and they've been put back into the community. Now, imagine you were a mother who had 4 children and Boko Haram attacked and killed your husband, probably killed all your children or killed 2 of your children. And then you see this guy who was one of the many attackers. He's back into their community, de-radicalized. How do you want to relate? That is the story the media should be talking about. Trauma, the trauma that they have gone through. How do you want to build peace in a community that has been so traumatized?
Okay.
How do you want to, for instance, talk about the people who want to leave from where they are, the IDP camps, to their stations, their places of origin, or people or villages who have absorbed IDPs and say, stay in my village as long as you want. So now you stay as long as you want. We can give you farms to farm. We can give you everything. I mean, those are the stories. People who are being Nigerians, and they don't care whether you are from Borno. You see, I went to Adamawa the other day, Makohi community, and the community head, he said, he has told these people, he said, come, these people are IDPs, they are from Gwoza in Borno State. But we don't speak the same language, but let them stay. I mean, that is the Nigerian spirit we should be talking about. And I asked, are you intermarrying? Yes. He has his nephews and his nieces, and he said if he wasn't that old, he would have taken a wife from the community. I mean, these are the stories we should tell it that should change the narrative of what people perceive the Northeast to be. Nobody wants to go to Maiduguri, nobody wants to go to Yola or wants to go to Yobe because they believe that once you get there, or in fact, can you imagine the fact that you are posted to Maiduguri? Oh, all your family members will want to do probably an obituary in quotes before you leave. But I met a doctor who, of course, was apprehensive when he was posted as a youth corps member there. And there, he stayed. He was very apprehensive. He was very scared.
So these are the stories we should tell.
These are the stories we should be telling as the media.
Let's talk about how can help you use the social media to help tell the story. How the social media, mobile phones and everything, we can, because people, social media stories travel faster than traditional media or print. How can we...
Cecil, I'm sorry to say that it will be very difficult, because the truth about it is that everybody has taken over the social media. The media is not in charge of the social media. Apparently, actually, those who perpetrate fake news are in charge of social media. So you cannot take in charge of social media. But what you can do as a conventional media and using your corporate name is the fact that you put out the right stories. Put out the right stories. Trend your conventional media stories on social media. The same thing.
Because we need to let the international community know that please come back to Nigeria. Nigeria is still safe.
Oh, definitely. There's nothing wrong with Nigeria. Nothing wrong with the Northeast. Yes, we have. We can't say that. We can't say that. Oh, all is perfect. But just like all is not perfect in the Northeast, all is not perfect in the East. There are kidnappings in the East. We have the cattle rustlers all over the country. Not just even in the Middle Belt. We have in Edo State. We have in the Southeast. We have in the Middle Belt. We have everywhere. So we have trials, challenges everywhere in the country.
So tell me a final word from you.
My final word from you, the media has to rise up. The media has to know what stories to tell. And the media needs to make an impact with its stories by changing the narrative of the Northeast.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Ohiomokhare. Changing the narrative, that's what the media should do. You've told the story before. Tell it again and tell the development so far. All right, this is the Media Review segment. We'll continue with the rest of Insight in just a moment.